Hello everyone, myself Gauri Kadam. I am teaching you engineering geology. Today we are going to discuss the first module of this subject, which is introduction and physical geology. Firstly, the question arises is why geology? Geology सिविल इंजीनियर के लिए क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? Geology plays a very important role in the field of the civil engineering. It provides knowledge about the materials used for the construction. There are different types of the materials are used for the construction of different structures by the civil engineers. So knowledge about this, all the materials are included in the geology. Also, its knowledge is helpful for constructing dams, tunnels, designing of the highways and roads. Okay. Geotechnical engineers needs knowledge about this subject for the excavation work. At the time of the excavation, the knowledge about this geology is very much important. Okay. Next is introduction. Okay. What is the definition of the geology? Geology, geo means the earth and logy means the study. So geology is the science of the earth. Okay. It deals with the study of origin, then age, interior structure, and the history of the earth. Okay. Means what is the age of the earth? Then what is the interior structure of the earth? And all these are included in this geology. Also, the various surface features, which are the rivers, mountains, and the lakes. Okay. Um, the evaluation of these various surface features, also the modification occurs due to the different geological agents. All these are all the study of all these are included in the geology. Also, materials making the earth surface. Okay, the different materials. The earth is made up of the different types of the materials. So, the study of all these are included in the geology. Next is the aligned and main and aligned branches of the geology. Geology is the main branch. Okay, along with this there are different branches are there. First is the main branches are physical geology, second is the mineralogy, third is the petrology, and then structural geology, historical geology, paleontology, economic geology. These are the main branches of the geology. Okay. Along with this, there are aligned branches are there, which are they? First is engineering geology. Next is the mining geology. Then geophysics, geohydrology, and geochemistry. Okay. So we will see the details of each of the branch of this geology. First is physical geology. Okay, the physical geology is also called as an dynamic geology. Okay, or also called as an geomorphology. As the name itself suggests that it deals with the different physical features of the earth. Physical features of the earth such as mountains, rivers, lakes, glaciers, and the volcanoes. Okay, so origin of these mountains, then tides. Okay, then modification occurs. Okay, how the mountains are formed. Okay, lakes are formed, rivers are formed. All these are going to be studied in the physical geology. Also, physical geology deals with the study of different changes occurs on the surface of the earth. Okay, which are they? Then marine regression, marine uh, transition, transgression, then formation and disappearance of the rivers, spring and lakes. Okay, all these changes which is occurs on the surface of the earth are going to be studied in the physical geology. Also, the natural phenomenon like landslides, then earthquake, and weathering. Okay, these natural phenomena are occurs due to the different geological agents like wind, rivers. Okay, all these are going to be studied in the physical geology. Weathering is also weathering of the rocks are also going to be studied in the physical geology. Next is the geological works of the wind, glaciers, rivers, oceans, groundwater, and their role in constantly molding of the earth's surface features. Okay, so the details about the glaciers, rivers, oceans, all these are going to be studied in the physical geology. Next branch of the geology is mineralogy. Okay, mineralogy it is deals with the study of different types of the minerals. Okay, the minerals are the basic units. Okay, rocks and ores are made up of the different types of the minerals. So mineralogy is deals with the study of the different types of the minerals. It includes details of mode of formation, then composition, occurrence, then types, association, properties, and the uses of all these are included in the mineralogy. From the civil engineering point of view, what is the importance of the mineralogy? Okay, all the rocks uh, are made up from the different types of the minerals. Okay, the strength and durability of the material depends upon the chemical composition. Okay, all the rocks are made up from their parent minerals. Okay, for example, the quartzite and marble resemble one another in shine, color, and appearance. They look like each other in shine, color, and appearance, but their chemical compositions are different. Okay, they are made up of the different types of the minerals. So, by virtue of its mineral composition, the quartzite is very tough, strong, and durable. Okay, quartzite is very tough, strong, and durable, while marble disintegrates and decomposition in a short period because of its mineral composition and properties. Okay, both these are look like each other, but their mineral composition are different. So their mineral properties, composition and properties are also different. Because of this mineralogy is also very much important for the civil engineers. Next branch of the geology is petrology. Okay, firstly, what is meant by the petro? Petro means rocks and logos means study. So the petrology is the study of the rocks. Okay. The earth crust is also called as a lithosphere. The earth crust is also called as a lithosphere, and which is made up of the different types of the rocks. Okay, and this the petrology deals with the formation, then structure, texture, composition, occurrence, and types of all these different types of the rocks. Okay, all are included in the petrology. We know that the three different types of the rocks: igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. Okay, the details of all these rocks are included in the petrology. Why it is important for the civil engineer? Okay, the composition and texture characteristics of rocks primarily contribute to their strength and durability. Rocks, based on their suitability, can be used for the foundation of tunnels, then dams, and other construction materials. Hence, it is very much important branch of the geology from the civil engineering point of view. Okay, construction, different types of the construction means for the construction of the dams, tunnels. Okay, the suitability of the rocks can be checked. Okay, and depending upon their suitability or the strength, they can be used for the different construction. So next branch is structural geology. The rocks which form the earth crust undergoes various deformation, dislocations, and disturbance under the influence of the tectonic forces. Okay, the earth crust undergoes various deformation. Other changes occurs on the surface of the earth due to the influence of the tectonic plates forces, and it results in the occurrence of the different geological structures. Due to the tectonic forces, plate forces, there are different geological structures are formed, like folds, faults, joints, unconformities in the rocks. Okay, so detailed study of all these geological structures are going to be studied in the structural geology. There are mode of formation, causes, types, classification, their importance are included in the structural geology. In the figure you can see that the fault is there. Okay, the structure of the road structure is collapsed due to the fault. Okay, so it is very much important to study the structural geology for the civil engineer, uh, for the safe, stable, and stable construction of any type of the structures. Next is the histological geology. The earth surface was always suitable condition for the deposition of the sediments at some place or other place. Okay, therefore there are sedimentary rocks on the earth representing the entire period of the rock history. So the proper investigation of these rocks reveals the chronological sequence of formation of the rocks, then evaluation, migration, plants, and animal life during the different period of the earth history. Okay, so details of the formation of different types of the rocks. Okay, also their evaluation, migration, then deposition, all these are included in the histological geology. Okay, so this kind of study of the earth history through the sedimentary rocks is called as a histological geology. The histological geology is also called as an stratigraphy. Strata means a set of the sedimentary rocks, and the graphy means the description, because the subject is deals with the details and the description of the sedimentary rocks. This histological geology is also called as a stratigraphy. So from the civil engineering point of view, it is relevant that older rocks are more stable and it is competent, okay, than uh, due to their more compaction and the cementation. Older rocks are more stable and competent due to their more compaction and the cementation. So further, the stratigraphy can be utilized in predicting the underlying strata, uh, which may be very much important in some specific civil engineering construction. Next branch of the geology is paleontology. Under a favorable condition, animals and plants get embedded in the sediment. Okay, and it may be preserved partly or completely. So such a remnants or relics of the ancient life preserved in the rocks by the natural process, which is called as an fossils. Okay, the study of these fossils is nothing but the paleontology. Details of mode of formation of their fossils, their types, their occurrence, okay, from is included in the paleontology. So it is very much important from the it's not important for the civil engineering point of view. Only uh, if it for if a civil engineer should know some details regarding them, okay, so that it recognizes them as an fossil. Whenever he comes across such a finds during his work, he should report a matter to the concerned person. Only for that, the civil engineer should know this subject. Next is the economic geology. Minerals can be grouped into two types. First is the rock forming minerals, and second is the economic minerals. Okay, some of the economic minerals like talc, graphite, mica, asbestos, then gypsum, magnetite, and diamond are useful in the as in raw materials in some construction. And uh, some uh, others like hematite, chromite, galena are used as an ovens for the extraction of the various metals. The prosperity of the nation depends upon the to the large extent of the rich resources of the economic mineral deposit. Uh, um, for example, the South Africa is rich in the gold or the diamond. Also, the Gulf countries are rich in their oil deposit. So, the prosperity of the nation is also depends upon the large extent to the rich reserves of this economic minerals deposit. Okay. So, in the economic, so the economic geology deals with the mode of formation, occurrence, classification, association, also the varieties and concentration, properties, uses of these different types of the economic minerals. Okay, it is related to the economic importance, not related to the civil engineering point of view. Okay, uh, only whenever the civil engineer comes across such a find, he should, during his work, he should report the matter to the person who is concerned person. Okay. Next is the engineering geology. Okay. Uh, this is an allied branches of the geology. Engineering geology is very much important from the civil engineering point of view. It is with the application of the geological knowledge in the field of the civil engineering. Civil engineering for the execution of the safe, stable, and economic construction of dams, bridges, tunnels. Okay. Uh, next branch is the mining geology. Mining geology is deals with the application of geological knowledge in the field of the mining. Okay, mining engineer interested in the mode of extent of occurrence of the ores, their association, tenor, and properties. So it is also necessary to know their physical parameters like depth, direction, then inclination, thickness, and ore bodies. Okay, up to 25 kilometers, there are different types of the mines are there on the earth surface or the earth crust. So mining geology is deals with the application of this geological knowledge in the field of the mine. Next allied branch of the geology is the geophysics. Okay. The study of physical properties like density, then magnetism of the earth and its part is going to be studied in the physical geology. Okay, so this physical geology or the geophysics is divided into two types. First is the pure geophysics and second is the exploration geophysics. Okay, so the pure geophysics deals with the general aspect of the earth, and the exploration geophysics deals with the study of upper layers of the earth crust. Okay, in order to solve the civil engineering problem, then locating oil, gas, then groundwater, uh, uh, groundwater explorer, and estimate the over deposit, all are included in the exploration geophysics. Here is a figure of the pure geophysics. The structure of the earth is going to be studied in the pure geophysics, and second is the exploration geophysics. This deals with the different investigation of the uh, so, exploration geophysics is deals with the study of the location oil deposits, then where is the groundwater, then estimate the ore deposit, all are included in the exploration geophysics. Okay, the engineering geophysics is the branch of the exploration geophysics which aims at solving the civil engineering problems. Geophysical investigations are very much important in solving the foundation problems, then alignment of the structures, leakages, then problems along with the canals, then locating building materials like stones, okay, and the electrical resistivity method, seismic refraction methods are commonly used for the solving the civil engineering problems. All the study related to this are included in the exploration geophysics. Next branch is the geohydrology. Geohydrology also called as hydrogeology. Okay, this is also deals with the occurrence, movement, and nature of the groundwater. Hydrology is nothing but the study of the groundwater. Okay, so geohydrology is deals with the occurrence, movement, nature of the groundwater in that particular area. This branch is closely related to the geology because it is very instance movement of groundwater are directly related to the porosity, then permeability, structure, texture, and composition of the groundwater and uh, underwater rocks. Okay, dikes may control the occurrence and the movement of the groundwater. So in general, geophysical, the geological, hydrological studies are together taken up the groundwater investigation. All these are included in the geohydrology. Next branch is the geochemistry. Okay, this is a this is not much important from the civil engineering point of view. This branch deals with the occurrence, disturbance, distributions, abundance, mobility of the different elements on the earth crust. Not important from the civil engineering point of view. So next point is scope of the geology. Okay, geology provides necessary information about the construction materials they at a site used in the construction of the buildings, dams, tunnels, tanks, reservoirs, highways, and bridges. All these are the different civil engineering structures. Okay, so geology provides the necessary information about the constructing materials. Geological information is most important in the planning stage, design stage, and the construction phase of the engineering project. Next is geology is useful to know the method of mining of the rock and mineral deposit on the earth surface and the subsurface. Geology is useful for supply, storage, and filling of the reservoirs with the water. So this is only subject which gives the information about the earth surface. अर्थ सरफेस के बारे में डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन देने वाला जियोलॉजी ही एक सब्जेक्ट है. ओके, सो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ द जियोलॉजी इन civil engineering. Basically, the civil engineer aims at safety, then stability, economy, and life of the structures that they construct. Okay. Uh, the structure should be safe, then stable and economical. Also, the structure should be more durable. Okay. This, for this, the geological knowledge should be important. Is important for the civil engineering. Civil engineering construction like dams, bridges will have their foundation on the geological formations of the earth surface. All the structures are based on the earth crust, okay, earth surface. We will see one by one First is the importance of the geology with reference to the dams. Okay, for example, uh, the, for, the, for example, due to the advanced geological conditions, uh, the St. Francis Dam in California, also the Lafayette Dam of California, Osceola dams of the Texas are collapsed. Okay, due to the advanced geological conditions. It is not due to the technical lapse. Okay, so all these failures of the dams occurs due to the geological conditions. In addition to these failures, these are only a number of examples. Okay, where the cost of construction become very uh, very high. Okay, in order to overcome the associated geological drawbacks. Geological studies at the dam site will also suggest which design will be suitable for their given geological state. Okay, for example, the gravity dams need a very strong and a competent foundation. Okay, but as compared with the buttress dams, for the buttress dams relatively less strong foundations rocks are enough. Okay, then for the arch dams a very strong and durable abutment rocks are needed, and for the earth dam even a weak foundation rocks meet the requirement. So at the time of the construction of different types of the structures, the geological uh, study is very much important. Next is importance of the geology with reference to the reservoir. In the case of the dam site, selection of the suitable site for locating the reservoir needs geological studies to make them successful. Okay. Intense weathering in the rocks upstream causes silting problem. So the porosity and the permeability of the rocks, occurrence of the faults, joints, and the other weak plants causes the leakage problems. Groundwater condition also play a very important role in the influencing the leakage. Thus, the proper study of these geological conditions at any proposed reservoir site will forewarn and engineer the problems. पहले ही हमने स्टडी किया तो ये जो प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होने वाले हैं वो हम रोक सकते हैं. Next is with reference to the tunnels, the importance of the geology are is first is the competence of the rocks, associated geological structures like bedding, then faults, joints, porosity, and permeability of the rocks, and the groundwater conditions are the geological functions which need to be thoroughly studied to solve such a problems. Then with respect to the bridges, the failure of the bridges near the Cornwall in the Canada and the difficulties faced in the construction of the river bridge illustrate that the consequence of improper or the incomplete study of the geological conditions of that site concerned. Okay, for this the strong and stable rocks are needed for the foundation and the abutment. The advanced geological structure should not acquire at the site. For this, geology is important at the time of the geological knowledge is very much important at the time of the construction of the bridges. Next is importance of the geology in civil engineering with reference to the roads and the railways. Geological knowledge can be utilized when necessary in dealing with the huge buildings, runways and terrain. Evaluation for the military operations and defense purposes. So it is keep in mind that the role of the geology in the civil engineering is to indicate in advance the existing drawback. Okay, if any of the sites, so that the suitable precautionary steps are to be taken to overcome them, and sites are made safe for undertaking the construction. So next point is geological, and next point is the general geology. Any rocks which is hard or strong, it may be, when it is exposed to the atmosphere, ultimately making the rock unfit to the site or foundation or to be used as for the construction material. So details of this response of these different material which constitute the rocks will give the proper understanding of the weathering phenomenon. Hence, the weathering of the rocks is studied in the general geology. There are different geological agents are there. Okay, the natural forces which are, what is meant by the geological agents? The natural forces which are responsible for the visible changes on the earth surface are called as geological agents. Okay, and based upon their origin, these are classified into two types: exogenous geological agent and endogenous geological agent. Exogenous is also called as an epigene, and endogenous means also called as an hypogene. Okay, these two groups differs not only in their origin but also in their nature of work and also the result produced. Okay, so we will see one by one. First is the exogenous geological agent. The agents which originated on the earth's surface work slowly but steadily and erase the topographical regularities, ups and downs on the surface. Okay, their geological work in the way is systematic, that is commences with the erosion and is followed by the transportation and the deposition. So the erosion process causes disappearance of the land mass like hill. The deposition process causes the disappearance of the depressed land mass like peat, lake and sea. So examples of these exogenous geological agents are river, then wind, glaciers, waves of the sea. Okay, are the examples of the exogenous group of the agents. So here is the figure which is showing the types of the erosion occurs due to the different types of the exogenous geological agents. So first, in the first figure you can see the river caving a valley, then waves cutting back the cliffs, then wind blowing, okay, then glaciers moving the rocks, and last one is the landslides. Okay, these are the different types of the erosion occurs due to the exogenous geological agent. So which are they? First is the wind, then glaciers, then rivers, waves of the sea. Okay, these are the examples of the exogenous geological agent. For example, if we go for the case study, the Himalayan rivers, that is Ganga, Brahmaputra, are the physically transport about 1 million of tons of sediments daily. Okay. Second example is southwest monsoon winds transport over 1,30,000 tons of salt particles annually from run of the Kutch towards the Rajasthan. Glaciers also do work of such a magnitude, even they are capable of transporting huge boulders many meters in the diameter. So these are the different examples of the exogenous geological agent. Okay. In the figure you can see that here is the hill and here is a depression. So in hills, due to the erosion, the rocks are broken down into the smaller pieces. Okay, and due to the different exogenous geological agents, I mean due to the wind or the river, they are transported and then it is deposited on the when there is a depression is there. Okay, so this changes the visible changes on the earth surface is occurs due to the this exogenous geological agent. Next point is endogenous geological agents. The nature, origin, and the function of the endogenous geological agent are in principle opposite to those of the exogenous geological agent. Okay. So endogenous geological agents is exactly opposite to those of the exogenous geological agents. Okay, they originated below the surface, work suddenly, and create a topographical irregularities. Exogenous geological agents uh, are above the earth, and the endogenous geological agents originated below the earth's surface, work suddenly, and it creates the topographical irregularities. Okay, for example, the volcanoes, earthquake, groundwater, tectonic forces. Okay, these are the geological endogenous geological agents. Na- okay, in the figure you can see the volcanoes on the on the hill. So height of this hill is increasing day by day due to the continuous flowing of this uh, lava. Okay. Next point is the weathering of the rocks. Okay, weathering means what? The process by which rocks are broken down and decomposed by action of the external agencies such as wind, rivers, rain, temperature changes. Okay, so this is called as a weathering. Okay, the deteriorating effect of weather, climate, or the atmospheric agencies on the rocks, it is described as an weathering of the rocks. Okay, the different kinds of rocks which are formed under these different conditions undergoes disintegration and decay. Okay, when it is exposed to the earth surface. So all kinds of these rocks, when affected by the weathering, they loses their strength. Okay, and hence it becomes an unsuitable for the use either for the formation purpose or for the construction material or as in construction material. So weathering phenomenon is especially important from the civil engineering point of view. Okay, apart from this, weathering of the rock is responsible for the formation of the soils, then laterites, some other economical minerals, groundwater occurrence. Okay, so from the different angles, the weathering is very much important. Okay, weathering process of the rocks assumed as very much important. So weathering of the rocks is divided into three types. First is the mechanical weathering, second is the chemical weathering, and third is the biological weathering. First is the what is the weathering process? As I already said that weathering of the rocks is due to the process of the mechanical disintegration and the chemical decomposition. This happens due to the different physical, chemical, and the biological factors of the nature. Okay, due to the weathering, rocks become smaller and smaller. Okay, it reduces their size. So either when they are physically broken down or chemically dissolved or the leached. Okay, so they reduces their size because of the weathering. So we will see the different types of the weathering. First is the mechanical weathering. Mechanical weathering means what? This process involves breakdown of the rocks into smaller pieces due to the natural forces like waterfalls, landslides. Okay, this mechanical uh, weathering is also divided into again different types. First is the wedging, then expansion and contraction, and then the effect of the vegetation. First we will see the frost wedging. Frost wedging means what? The presence of water in cracks of the rocks freezes during the night time and it melts during the daytime. Okay, then the freeze due to this freezing or the freezing of this water involves increasing the volume. Okay, due to the freezing the volume of the water is increases, and because of this walls of the rocks get cracked or wedged, ultimately resulting in the breakdown. Okay, so this is in frost wedging action. Due to this is the first um, type of the mechanical weathering. Next is the here is the figure which is showing the frost wedging. So this is the rock where the rainwater is stored in the cracks. Okay, so at the night time this water is freezes. Okay, at that time the volume of the water is increases, and in the second figure the rock at the daytime the water is start melting and it will start flowing. So due to this expansion and contraction of the water or the freezing and melting of the water uh, in the cracks get extended, and the weathering of the rocks occurs. Next is uh, next is the expansion and the contraction process. Solar radiation causes heating, which results in the thermal expansion during daytime and drop in the temperature during the night time. It causes the contraction. The expansion and the contractions are confined only to the surface layer of the rock and result in a fracture. Due to the expansion and contraction, the weathering of the rocks occurs. Okay, here is a figure which is showing the cracks acquired due to the expansion and contraction process. Next is the effect of the vegetation. During the growth of the vegetation in rocky terrains, the roots penetrate into the existing weak planes and gradually the cracks are widened, leading to the physical breakdown of the rock masses. Okay. Here is a figure which is showing that the effect of the vegetation. The roots of the trees start growing, and due to this the cracks are treated into the rocks. Okay, as the roots of the tree is growing, the cracks is increases in the rocks, and the weathering of the rocks occurs due to the vegetation. So the weathering uh, out of these two types of the weathering means disintegration and the decomposition. The disintegration process is accomplished in nature by the greater variety of natural agencies. Which are the natural agencies? First is the wind, then next river, glaciers, tides, gravity, exfoliation, and the corrosion. These are the different natural agencies due to which disintegration occurs in the rocks. First is the wind. Wind is a relatively weak natural force because of the medium, that is air. In spite of this, it can cause disintegration or create conditions favorable for the weathering. Okay. Next is what? River. The importance of the river as an exogenous geological agent. Okay. Its mode of causing erosion by abrasion, attrition, hadriction, and a solution. Okay. Next is the glaciers. These slow moving bodies of ice can cause only disintegration. Decomposition of the rocks cannot take place due to the extremely cold environment. Okay, the glacial erosion or disintegration of the rocks takes place due to the abrasion, wearing, and the frost wedging. Frost wedging phenomenon is we are already studied. Okay, it is more connected with the climatic changes than with the glaciers. Okay, next is the uh, exfoliation. Exfoliation is the type of mechanical disintegration of the rocks which is taking place due to the frequent intense temperature changes. It is occurs due to the change in the temperature. Next is the gravity. The Earth's gravitational attraction imparts enormous energy to the falling bodies. When such bodies ultimately strike the ground, the rocks there are smashed into the pieces and the weathering occurs. Okay, the next last one is the corrosion. Due to the corrosion also the disintegration of the rocks occurs. How it is? This is corrosion is the uh, solvent action of the sea water. Okay, which is especially strong in those places where the coastal rocks are vulnerable to the chemical action of the sea water. Okay, from the civil engineering point of view, beach erosion is very much important. Erosion and deposition of the solid materials by the action of the water are continuous process along with the shoreline. Okay. Shore engineering is the study of the sequence and the rate of this destructive and building up the processes. So these are the different natural agencies due to which the weathering of the rocks occurs. Next is chemical weathering. Okay, chemical weathering. Uh, Such factors refers to the decay and decomposition effects in the rocks due to the various natural causes. Okay, chemical weathering involves chemical reaction resulting in the alteration of the rocks leading to the formation of new alteration product. Okay, water is the best fluid that directly affect the rocks by the way of dissolution, leaching, hydration and the oxidation. We will see one by one. First is the dissolution. Okay, what is meant by the dissolution? This happens in the case of the carbonate rocks. Okay, such as limestone, dolomite, marble. When the river water travels in these rocks, carbonates are dissolved and it resulting in the reduction of their sizes. Okay, carbon dioxide of the atmosphere has a natural tendency to dissolve in the water. Okay, the extent to which it dissolves depends upon the temperature, pressure and the chemical environment. When river water which has carbon dioxide is dissolved in a dissolved condition transfers the limestone terrain, these rocks are dissolved resulting in the reduction of their sizes. Okay. Marbles, dolomite are the rocks which are similarly affected by the dissolutions. Next is the, so here is a figure which is showing the dissolution of the rocks. Next is the leaching. Okay. Leaching means the removal of the soluble content from the rocks by water. Okay. Water is a powerful leaching agent which affect the leaching for the most of the materials when come in contact with the water. Only very few materials are totally unaffected by the waters. Most of the minerals are decayed and leach due to prolonged contact with the water. So here is the figure which is showing the leaching. Okay, laterite is the typical example. Okay, such a porous rock is naturally very weak. Laterite, which is we are using for the construction of the buildings. These are example of the leaching. Such a porous rock is naturally very weak and compared to its compact fresh parent rock and easily breaks down when attracted by the natural forces. Okay, this is the leaching. Last is the hydration. Hydration is the process when the hydroxyl molecules are injected into the molecular structure of the minerals, okay, thereby bringing about the decomposition of the minerals. This phenomenon is extremely important because of it affects more than 80% of the minerals of an average rocks. Okay, due to the hydration is the type of the chemical weathering. So here is the figure which is showing the hydration. Mm, next is the last type of the weathering is the biological weathering. It involves breakdown of the rocks by living organisms like bacteria, fungi, okay, humic acid, which causes decomposition of the rocks. Okay, some of the microorganisms penetrate into the minerals crystals and remove specific ions from the internal layer. Biological weathering is due to the mainly plants, animals, or even a bacteria. Okay. Due to this bacteria or organisms like bacteria and fungi, it causes the decomposition of the rocks. Okay. Uh, here is a figure which is showing the biological weathering. Okay. Due to the animals, then trees, plants, okay, the biological weathering occurs. Last type of the weathering is the biological weathering. Okay, so the different biological factors are also uh, there, which due to which helps in the disintegration and decomposition of the rocks. Which are they? First is the trees and plants, animals, bacteria, and man. Okay, man ranks top in the list of the various factors responsible for the post unnatural weathering of the rocks. Okay, for he is very powerful and is satisfy the various requirements. Okay, for the construction of the bridges, buildings, dams, the enormous quantities of the construction materials are needed, and for getting this, he, the quarrying is done, which results in the rapid disappearance of the hills and the mountains. Okay, to suit him, when required, man undertakes tunneling too, okay, which means large-scale blasting of the rocks to feed minerals into his industries, factories. He resolved extensive mining, open cast, and underground, which again means breakdown of the rocks. Thus, man is a unique way causes the disintegration of the rocks. The different materials which is used for the construction of the buildings, dams, okay, all these engineering uh, structures. For this, the rocks is required in a very much amount, and for this, the quarrying is done, and because of this, the weathering of the rocks occurs. Okay. Next is the importance of the weathering rocks. We already seen the different disadvantages of the weathering of the rocks, but there are some useful effects of the weathering also. Which are they? First is the weathering produces the soil, okay, which is the vital for the agriculture and also for the production of the different types of the crops. Okay. Next is the cheap building stones like laterite. It is developed due to the weathering. Then the economical mineral deposits like bauxites are formed due to the weathering. Bauxite is obtained from the weathering. Then laterite is obtained from the weathering. The soil is formed due to the weathering. Next, acquirance of the few economical important placer deposits too is indirectly related to the weathering. Okay, and weathering makes the rocks porous and permeable. This is very important from the groundwater acquirance point of view. Okay, in the case of the hard rocks like granites and the granites, This acquires aqueous characteristics because of the weathering. Of course, the presence of the joints and fault shear zones in them also contribute to their this phenomenon. So these are some useful effects of the weathering also. But from the civil engineering point of view, the weathering is not a welcome process because it reduces the strength, durability, and the good appearance of the rocks. Okay, whether rocks are being weak or unsuitable for the tunneling, then weathering due to the sea waves results in the coastal region, which poses a difficult problem for the civil engineers. Okay, then also the innumerable loose soils along the steep slopes. It may turns out of the landslides um, a civil engineer hazard. So these are some disadvantages of this of occurs due to the weathering. So from the civil engineering point of view, the weathering is not a welcome process. It reduces the strength and durability and also the appearance of the rocks. Okay, so here we will stop over here. Okay, thank you.